What's up, everybody? Maik Wiedenbach here, New York City. It is Friday, almost weekend. It is weekend, pretty much. The weather is awesome. So, the topic du jour is a question that I got from somebody in another forum. He said to me, Mike, what does it feel like to look awesome? I think, well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. And I'm thinking, I mean, I'm not, Ronnie Coleman or Jay Cutler, the people like stare in the street and look at me like, but I guess compared to most people, I'm somewhat bigger or in better shape or whatever. And so it gets a certain amount of attention that comes with that. But I realized that when I looked my best or I performed my best, I felt awful, absolutely awful. So a little bit of history, you probably might notice that I come from a swimming background, which I have these awesome shoulders. And so, I'm not Michael Phelps, but I made the national team. I competed on a pretty high level. I got a scholarship here and so on and so forth. And I won a good amount of stuff. And it didn't make me happy. Okay, it felt empty. It's lonely. It's very, very critical of myself at all times. And when I got into bodybuilding, I was gotta be bigger, gotta be leaner, gotta be stronger, blah blah. So then at my peak, I was probably like 240 at 5% body fat, and I felt awful, okay? So my joints were aching, but mentally I was just really, really down on myself. I was jealous of this guy because he was 245, and this guy winning this even though I should have won that, and this guy getting this newspaper cover because I didn't get it, and so on and so forth. And everything was a chore, okay? Like training was a chore, eating was a chore, and I just felt like I have to do this, but I didn't enjoy it one bit. So there was the discrepancy between looking great and feeling awful. So basically you can look great, that's pretty easy to do. All you need is a modest amount of discipline, a bunch of drugs, a gym, food, and off you go, right? But you're probably not feeling great. So first of all, there's obviously health risks, but also because you're doing it for the wrong reason. So I was doing it because I felt that's what I had to do, or that's what expected of me, or because I had to beat this guy or look this or whatever, right? So I just kept going on, and it was really miserable, When people kept coming to me and said, man, Mike, you look great. And I was like, yeah, that's nice, And I didn't want to get out of bed, it was awful. And what changed things for me was, as so often, kids. So my daughter, it was her birthday coming up, and I said, we're having an ice cream party, and we're going over here to Dylan's Candy Store, which is the most overpriced store in the Western Hemisphere, but it's awesome. And she goes in there, and of course they have, the marketing and the sales down. She said, Papi, there's even candy pictures on the floor, right? And she had this, this unbridled joy and happiness about being in that candy store. And I realized that's how training should be. You should go to the gym and be like, ooh, Snickers, weights, right? So the first thing I did is I challenged my training philosophy and my thought pattern. So I was very progressive overload, you gotta do this, right? And big exercises, blah, blah. And then I started thinking, well, what about movement patterns? What about, this doesn't work for me. What about the strength curve? All I'm doing is mid-range, that's why my joints ache, and that's why I'm hunched. My shoulders are injured. So I started breaking stuff down, learning from other people, and I changed my workout. I also then challenged the notion that you need like X days off, and then I realized, no, you don't. You can train every day if you do it in a certain way, and if you enjoy it, and if you take care of your recovery. And I also became, or tried to become, somewhat more helpful to others, through whatever videos or articles or so. So I wasn't like just about me, in a dungeon training. I want to be the best bodybuilder in the world, and if you want to watch my stuff, it's going to cost you money. And then lastly, it's gratitude, right? Because that's really what it's come down to. Because I realized, whatever it's worth, I'm very fortunate. I mean, I came here on a scholarship. I somehow managed to have a career in my hobby. And, I have you guys listening to me, which I'm grateful for. And that process got me back to the candy store. So that now, I love working out again, So now it's actually I look decent, not as good as I did back then, but good enough for my standards right now. And I truly enjoy it. And that's the only way you can do this for the long term, right? If you're only toiling away because you want to win this show and after that, it's never gonna work for you. It's just not, okay? Like all this has to be a byproduct. Like if you compete and you do well, great. But if you do not enjoy the process, I mean, life's short, right? So find a way to make it workable for you. And you guys have a great weekend. Mike out.